Everyone, I made a video the other day but decided not to post it because I wanted to redo it. This video is going to be about your altar, or her altar, the spiritual space, and everything in the space having purpose. Okay? And this is a message that she sent me just kind of intuitively, and I felt the need to post it because not that it's not common sense or anything like that, but just, doing my job. But altars, depending on the person, can grow. Altars are a representation of not only what you want to achieve, but of your relationship with said spirit or said deity or said entity, what have you. They are a little home, or a little symbolic representation of your time with that spirit and your dedication with that spirit. And also it's a reflection of what you wish to achieve together in that relationship. It's something that is very dear, should be very dear to you. One thing it should not be is just simply decorative. An altar should not be something you're just showing off just to earn cool points. An altar should not be something that is solely for your ego. No, because not only is it not going to work out for you, but depending on the spirit that you're working with, in this case, Santísima Muerte, it's kind of an insult. And believe me, I've gotten my spanks in the past for doing this. And that's why I'm making a video of it. And that's why she sent me this message on several different occasions, but just decided to upload it recently. Just decided to upload it now. But she's gotten after me in the past for, and this is me being honest, for trying to look like badass, like, oh, check this out. It looks awesome. And, it's not like I wasn't doing it like, oh, I'm better than you, but like, oh, look what I just got, There's nothing wrong with that in particular, in taking pride in your faith and your devotion. But if you're doing it solely for egotistical purposes, then it's not the right reason. It's almost like you're telling other people, this is fake. I'm doing this for fake reasons. That's what you're telling other people. I'm trying to be a show off. If that's what you're doing, then I don't have to tell you nothing. She'll get after you. If you all have a true connection, she'll get after you and she'll be like, no. That's not what this is about. You're being completely and totally superficial, and you're just missing the whole point. So, with all that being said, there are various and countless things that people will put on their altar. There's no real caption, and there's no real end to what a person can put on their altar. But with what I had stated previously, everything should have purpose. So this is going to be a very long video, as you will likely see from the time. So I would suggest get comfy. I'm not going to show my face or nothing. I'm just going to be showing you every single bit of the altar and its purpose. And after her scolding me and after her telling me what's up, I'm telling the rest of the world, hey, I'm human, even I screw up. And she understands that because, well, she's still here. So I would like to approach it from a timeline. And even though I don't have all of the original statues that I had started with, I'll try to do my best to recall, and I'll try to do my best to give an account as to what happened, why it happened, and how it all turned out. So originally, I had a winged statue, very small, probably up to about here, maybe 14 inches or so. And it was the white one because, well, everybody told me to start with the white one. So I did. I tried to approach this from other people's experience. And so I got the white one. But if I'm being 100% honest with you, that's not the one that I had the first encounter with. The one that I had the first encounter with was she was standing in her black robe, you know? But I went ahead and got it anyway because I was paying attention to what was said in the past. And the reason why that is said is because that, we're just going to go ahead and call it aspects, right? Okay, we're going to do that. That aspect is very light. It's not that it's not intense, and it's not that it's not serious. It is. It's always serious when we're talking about Santa Muerte. But it's more, I guess you could say, heavenly or celestial or angelic, you know, something that you as a person can handle when you first start working with her. It's kind of like the light version. I don't know how else to word it. It's not the fullest extent of her energy, I guess. If it is, it's in a very handleable way. I don't know how do you word that, but yeah. So I started with that, and of course I did my, devotions. I did everything that everybody told me to do. I put her tequila, I put her water, I put her offerings. I spoke with her, I prayed with her. I gave her my woes. I gave her my secrets. I gave her everything. I literally got on my knees and prayed and cried to her to the statue when I first spoke with her. Okay. And of course, yes, I did what everybody else did, and I asked her for something. Well, something that I learned over time was that she don't always give you what you want. She gives you what you need. So it's a real big lesson in being greedy, and it's a real big lesson in being transparent with your true intentions. Okay. So I'm gonna be honest. My first request of her was to have another kid. Well, obviously that didn't happen. And later on, I figured out why. And, that's not to say that the future won't change or nothing like that. But it wasn't in my best interest at the time to have that happen. So I was upset. That really upset me because it's like the only thing I ever asked her for in the beginning. And to be quite frank with you, I haven't asked her for anything extreme since then. That's a major life change, and I didn't get it. And yeah, I was a little upset, but then I looked at her and I looked at the statue and I was like, I understand. It took me a few months, but anyway. So the first statue was white. The second statue was another winged statue that was the 7 colors. And I did the same thing, carried on. But after that, and it's not that I didn't feel nothing from the statues. I felt like a heat radiating, and every time I would give offerings, I felt, the best I could describe is like hands on my shoulder, kind of close to my neck. Kind of felt like a little choking, or kind of like when your throat closes up when you're nervous. And I felt a little lightheaded anytime I gave those offerings. And that may sound scary, but it was actually kind of comforting. So it was like, I accept your offering, and I accept that you're doing this genuinely. Okay. So the next one I got, I wanted to get a black one, but the lady that I was speaking with had this one available, and it was before I was aware of botanicas and yerberias and witchy shops and all that selling her products. I mean, this was my first time coming into it. Yes, I was raised around it, but I was always told stay away. So she got this one from Mexico, as most of them are from Mexico. And I was enamored with the way the statue looked. I'm not going to lie to you, as a lot of us are. But it's weird because part of that lust for that statue, I felt like it wasn't me. It felt like somebody was doing it through me, like that's the best way I can describe it. So I got this one, and I adorned it, and I made special necklaces for it. And at the same time, the lady that sold it to me made her own rosaries, and she made this rainbow one here. Did I ever use it? I'm going to tell you the truth. Whenever I tried to to use something that I gave to the statue, gave to her, I get sick. Why? Why do I get sick? Because that is hers. That was a lesson I learned the hard way. It took me many times over to learn that lesson because I didn't want to ask nobody, you know. And it was good that I didn't ask nobody because I figured it out for myself. And then I got affirmation from other people. Yes, that's where you messed up. And I said, okay. Okay, person I don't know. Thank you for affirming something I figured out on my own. So that's how you know that there's a good connection there, because there's a lot of synchronicities with other people that you never had conversation with before, you know. So I adorned her with these, and you know, I eventually, I mean, I fell in love with this statue, guys. Like, how could you not? But I got her globe and I painted it very crappily. But I wanted it to, you know, to have a more customized feel because it was originally just all beige. And then I got her a crown during Christmas time from Hobby Lobby, and little wire stars here because I saw that in a dream once. I'm going to try not to go off on tangents, but I have ADD, so I might, just letting you know. Then I started in putting more and more belief and stock into the red string and the red bracelets and what they represent and how they're meant to ward off evil and meant to ward off malefic energies. And one of the very first ones I got, I tried it on. Now this is going to be a repetitive theme here. I tried it on, felt a little sick, or I felt like this don't belong to me. You know, when you put something on and you're like, yeah, this don't feel right. This ain't me. So that's what happened. And among my very first encounters with these bracelets, I took it off and I put it on her, and I instantaneously felt better. This ring right here is actually one that my husband found, and I was like, what are the chances? Because as you all know, my husband is, I guess you could consider him asatru, but he's not religious. You know, he puts faith in the Nordic gods, and so, you know, not to say that it would be odd for anybody to have a ring like this, but he just so happened to have this one around, and he gave it to me, and he swears he doesn't know where he got it from. So I put it on once again, didn't feel right, gave it to her, felt awesome. So another one was these little ones that I got at the flea market. They have a cross and her image. I know it's black, but at the time I didn't have a black statue, so I gave it to her, and as you can see, she's the reversible one. She's the one, the reversible, from my understanding, is to send things back. If there's malefic energies coming in, they're being sent back through the reversible image. So oddly enough, things started to sync up. She started to receive the symbology of protection and reciprocation, like a boomerang, like sending the energies back. So this statue I've had pretty much almost since the very beginning. Okay, so then we move on to this one. This one originally was yellow. And I just want to say, this is something that people are not going to agree with, I'm sure, but I modify my statues. I have modified my statues, and I think that it's a really good way to have a one-on-one connection with her by spending time with the idol. Spending time with the statue is a representation of you sacrificing your time for her. Like, it doesn't always have to be about offerings. It doesn't always have to be about prayers. It doesn't always have to be about the stereotypical things that you do. It could also be about just giving your time, you know? And I know that sounds almost like a cop-out, but it's actually one of the biggest sacrifices you can make, because we, as you know, have very limited time on this planet. We don't know if we're going to go tomorrow or if we're going to go 80 years from now. So giving your time, in my opinion, is probably one of the most profound things that you can give to her. So by doing all those other things, you are also giving your time, if you think about it. So once again, this was yellow. And when I first got it, you'll go back and see a video that it says, I bought a Santa Marta statue, now what? And it shows you kind of how to clean it. And that's the one. That's what it originally looked like. But I would stand in front of this image and I would speak about health because I have inflammation issues. You know, I'm going to be transparent. I have IBS, I have ADD, I have anxiety, I have onset arthritis, I have what they consider fibromyalgia, and those are all inflammation issues. So whenever I would have a flare up, I would speak with her and I feel like it would lessen dramatically within minutes. You know, and there's the power of the mind is an extraordinary thing, but come on, man. You know, like that's insane the way it would just dissipate like that. Your whole body just deflating, I guess is the best word, like from your inflammation. That's crazy insane. So I painted her white just off of kind of like an intuitive push. I just kept getting told red, white, black, red, white, black, red, white, black. And yes, it might have been influence from everybody else and their traditions and incorporating the red, black, and white. But for the longest time in the beginning, I didn't want to have nothing to do with that. I wanted to be open. I didn't want to follow protocol. I didn't want to be, I wanted to try to get away from religion, you know? And when I saw rules and guidelines and, you know, limits, I was like, no, screw that. I'm not going to do that simply because somebody says. So I'm one of those people that has to learn the hard way. So I just woke up one day just with this in my head, like red, black, white, red, black, white, red, black, white. So I painted this one white. And at first, I'm going to be honest with you, it felt kind of like, why are you doing this? Like I was getting an energy from the statue, like, why are you doing this? I'm fine. Leave me alone. Like, don't do this. But then after a minute, it was like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. Okay, that makes sense now. Okay, just do it then. Go ahead and do it. And then I swear to you, from that moment, that statue on occasion will smile big. I don't know how else to word it, but you will see that statue smile big on occasion. And that's the first time I saw it smile big was when I completed the last white coat on the image itself. So with the adornments, one of the biggest things that I gave was my favorite pendant. I'm really into astrology, and this is a pendant that has all the astrological signs on it. I super glued it to the statue. I was like, you helped me so much. Look, I'm giving you my favorite thing in the world. And so like now it's hers and I can never get it back because it's super glued on there, and I'm definitely not going to break the statue, you know. This was a gift from my husband, which I was supposed to wear, but once again couldn't because technically it wasn't mine. With this, I wore it several months, but it started to get pokey, and that's the best I can describe, is it started to get uncomfortable. And then as soon as I put it on here, I mean, the energy shifted, you know, like, it was hers the entire time. Same thing with these beads. We got them at the flea market. They're skulls. I wore them for a couple of days. I was like, it's not mine. It's not mine. So I put on the statue. I just got kind of like a cool, energetic happiness, I guess you could say, you know, and in any people that are skeptical or cynical or realists that are watching this could be like, oh, that's all psychosomatic. Be that as it may, it still works, you know? So the next one was this one, and I was like, I finally got my negra. I have to get a big one. It's plaster. I had all these outside and the elements got to them, so I had to bring them inside. Plaster is essentially like hard chalk, you know, so you can't keep that in the water necessarily. You can't keep that in the elements without it completely just breaking apart. So you have to be mindful of things like that. I mean, they are statues, they are idols, they are made of resin and some even bone, some of plaster, some of wood. You have to be mindful what they're made of, you know, so that they don't get destroyed. So anyway, same thing with this necklace. This necklace I wore for the longest time, probably close to like 6 months. Same thing. It started to feel uncomfortable. And I was having more and more dreams of her. I've had more dreams of her than any of the other aspects, you could say. And I know now the reason why. And the reason why is because she's protecting. She's like, man, I don't know what you're up to. Which, I mean, I'm a lawful, I'm a predictable, and I'm actually a boring kind of person. I don't really get into trouble, guys. And so it's like, and I'm not judging or nothing like that. I'm just saying I'm very boring. But when you put yourself in the public eye, people are going to hate you and you're going to get attacked regardless. Like, you could just be a person and somebody will hate you. That's just the way the world works. So I get her popping up in my dreams, even last night, popping up in my dreams. And she's just like, girl, would you stop? And I'm like, I can't. It's my job. Like, it's my job. And she's like, all right, well, look, you're going to need my help most of all. So she appears to me most. So I took this pendant off because, once again, it was feeling pokey. And I put it on her and just, I don't know how to describe this energy other than void and cold. Not even cold, just cool and heavy and deep and like thick. I guess that sounds all weird, right? But as soon as I put the necklace on there, you could feel that. And I got this one from the flea market. I was going to give it away, but something kept telling me, no, keep it, keep it, keep it. And as soon as I put it on her, I don't know, I saw a smidgen of a smile. A smidgen of a smile. With my experience with her, you can't make her smile too easy. Like, if she smiles, you definitely did something right. And so I was like, okay, I'm glad you're happy. But, and I know, look, before I keep going on with this, I know they're just resin. They're just concrete, or they're just plaster. But I'm not going to sit here and say that I have not seen those statues morph. I'm going to tell you a story about that statue. She was scolding me one time because I was being superficial. And I have a picture of it actually on my phone. The whole face turned black and swirly misty. And that is exactly what she looked like the first time that I saw her. And she made me cry because she called me out. And that's what she does. She calls you out on your BS. She's like, you can't go around preaching something and then come at it from a perspective of being egotistical or superficial or fake or anything like that. You're slipping. So I was like, you're right. I'm letting, all this get to my head. It was for like a month that I was just letting stuff get to my head, and I was getting really egotistical and that sort of thing. And she literally had me on my knees crying, like, you really going to be about this? You really going to do this? Or are you going to straighten up? You going to see the bigger picture? I'm like, no, you're right. It is about the bigger picture. It's not about one person. It's about the whole. And she's like, that's right. And she's like, I want this to be happening. This is about me, not about you. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. So moving on. My husband made this scythe out of metal, bronze. And this is what happens when you lift it out in the elements with moisture, especially when we live down here in South Texas. See how that's mold. If I try to take it off, I'll ruin the thing. So I just kind of left it here. Didn't seem to have a problem with it. Because Mom, man, she's about protection. Those were a gift from a friend, and I tried messing around with them, playing with them, stuff like that. Once again, it didn't feel like it was mine. Put them on here. Instantaneously felt an energy of, thank you. I like this. So, okay, moving on to the other ones. All right. So this one was originally black and red. Kept having dreams of a purple robe. Kept having dreams and intuitive pushes to keep this one. I was going to sell it, honestly. But to keep this one and paint it purple and black. So that's exactly what we did. See how it transitions down to black. We stained her hands to like a darker color. This is supposed to be representative of spiritual connection, because ultimately at the end of the day, that's all I want is spiritual elevation. I mean, I don't care. Honestly, I don't care about money. I don't care about power. I don't care about fame. I don't care about none of that mundane crap. All I care about is spiritual knowledge and spiritual elevation, spiritual connection. That's all I've ever cared about. So, we got kind of like a universal, I got a universal feel from this. So that's why I painted the globe with the constellations. But as I was doing a live video, somebody eyed it, somebody liked it, and I had it fall. It fell. Somebody hit the wall back here and it moved the statue and it fell out of the hand. You know, so I was like, oh man. I was like, I know I didn't do that crap. Somebody didn't like it. Somebody gave it ojo. So it fell and it broke. And I have to repaint it, but we stitched it back together. So once again, it was probably like, oh, you're bragging about the statue? Bus! Now it's broken. That's what happens when you brag. You know, that's what happens when you brag about your stuff. So that's why I'm always like, when people start bragging about their things online, I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that. They're gonna give it ojo and it's gonna mess up. Do not brag about your stuff online. So I just want you to know this video ain't about bragging, it's about the evolution of the altar. So anyway, man, I'm all over the place. Anyway, so we move on to the these were except for one, these were gifts. So this one was a gift recently from some friends, and this one doesn't have a lot of the, I guess you could say, Catholic connotations. It's more occultish, and there's kind of like I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, just a cultish feel that comes from that one. Like, let's go learn some magic kind of stuff, you know, from that one. And this one was a gift very early on from a very, very good person. And honestly, like that one, she's just kind of still, like firm, I guess you could say earthy. That's the feel I get from that one. This one, I was told to keep it here for somebody else, which I have, and it's she radiates, I'm gonna be honest with you, she radiates money. She does. Not a lot, obviously, but some. So I was gonna make a bracelet, right? That was kind of like a rosary bracelet that had all three colors, and it was kind of divided into triplicate, but it didn't turn out the right way that I wanted it to turn out. So I just I put it on her statue, and well, it seemed to like it. So this one was another one that was sent to me to care for. And there's a happy feel from that one, but that's what I get, just like happiness. This one I got recently. I don't know yet. The seeds, the lentils, everything, they're supposed to represent prosperity, abundance, health, that sort of thing. She's a newbie, so I haven't really gotten a specific feel from that one other than light and sunny. That's the best I can describe. So, yeah. Oh, and this one was made by a friend. Look him up on Instagram. I'm plugging him here. Like, look it up on Instagram. His name is LV_XIII. And he makes these altars. And oh my God, every time I think of this altar, I think of the smell. And it smells so freaking good. That's not the best part of it, obviously, but that's definitely a benefit. He hand makes these. He customizes them and spends a lot of time making them. And from this one, I get the same feel as the white statue. Very motherly, heavenly, you know, light, fluffy, happy. She radiates a lot of happiness, like the joy of a child is the best I can describe. So, yeah, so now we move on to the altar items themselves. So this is actually my son's doing. He came on here and he just put apples everywhere. I had, you know, like a couple per statue, but he put apples everywhere. The apples are very much representative of, some will say love, money, abundance, food, the most obvious explanation. You put food on the altar is because you want more food to be brought to your house. So they have an actual meaning behind them. The apple is a very old, very sacred fruit for in many, many, many different cultures, but in this one as well. So this back here was a gift. This shell with the stand was a gift, and it was sent to me as kind of like a thank you. And I was like, oh man, I can't keep that for myself. I already know exactly where it's going to go. And I put some stones in there, some sacred stones that she seems to like. you know, because they kind of radiate a sense of higher vibration. There you go. And this perfume is vanilla, and she loves it. I spray it on the statue 3 times every time I'm addressing the altar. So that all right there has purpose. The image itself is one of the very first things I ever made. You can look back in videos and see it. And I put a monarch in there that we had already found on the ground. It was already dead. But the monarch is a really big symbol in Mexico. It's actually a symbol of the dead. They thought in ancient times, in old times, that the monarchs were the souls of those that were recently deceased. You'll see it very big in the Dia de los Muertos time of year. So that's what that represents. And I'm going to get to you in just a second. And so I went to an antique shop recently, right? And something kept telling me, get the elephant with the trunk up, get the elephant with the trunk up. And I already knew what the elephant with the trunk up meant. It meant good luck. But something was telling me, elephant with the trunk up, money, elephant with the trunk up, money. And then oddly enough, at the pawn shop, I keep saying pawn shop, at the antique shop I went to, they had an elephant with the empty back here. And I was like, oh, I need to get that, because that's exactly, apparently, what I was looking for. And it's to hold her money. You know, it's bringing in money. So the truth is as much as you give, you get. That's the truth. So if you put like $1 in there, you're going to get kind of like a smaller amount of money back. She's going to give it back to you because she's about balance. If you put $100 bill in there, whoa, fancy pants, you know, you're going to get that amount back. That's just the way those scales work. You know, it's like what the effort you put in, you get back. So then the bell, I got that at the flea market, I think. And I was like, for some reason, I got to have that bell. Well, I had heard that you don't ring bells inside the house, especially if you're a spiritual person, because it'll call spirits. And I was thinking to myself, why is that a bad thing? You know, so I got the bell, and then whenever I ring it here on the altar, yeah, man, it feels like there's a whole stampede just like coming, but it feels like her. It feels like all of the energy feels like her. She's like, you rang? You know? So anytime I'm like, all right, we got to have a meeting, you know, I'll ring the bell. And I also got this at the same antique shop. I'll do the same thing with this. It's like, we got to have a group meeting. Come on, let's go. So that all has purpose. And then this red statue, it really does match up with this perfume that a friend gave me. And it just matches her personality perfect. And she really, really seems to like it because I can feel heat coming from this area whenever I spray it. You know, so that, once again, has purpose. Of course, the shot glass, you know. Some of these things are gifts, you know, like this was brought back in from Mexico from a friend. And same thing with the stones. I bought those stones specifically to radiate a certain kind of energy to bring to the altar. You know, so in that respect, it's sort of kind of a working altar, magical altar, but in a passive kind of way. So this is a gift, but it's also representative of abundance. So this is her coin that I was using there for a while that I got on Etsy. And it's pretty much, for the most part, if you really stand and you try to imbue her energy into it, and you really focus and you concentrate, that thing is spot on every single time. That owl back there is a gift. It was a gift to her as kind of like a, you know, like a thank you for health, protection, that sort of thing. So it serves purpose. But if I'm going to be honest, I don't really feel much coming from it. But it was just a gift to her. So as we see, we got some chocolates, because chocolates have an ancient belonging to the Mexican people and the native people of South America, you know. And honest to goodness truth, she loves them. She loves chocolate, especially dark chocolate. Apples, once again, serving a purpose. Cup of water, that's the conduit between the mundane and the spiritual world. This right here, I had never thought that CVS would sell something like this, so I just had to bring it home. I had to see, like, hey, do you like it? Because if she didn't like it, if I got like a bad vibe, I was just not going to put it on there. But it actually, well, pardon me, it actually has little black sparkles that float around in it. That was just a gift. That is a gift. So, this was a custom made one that I did here at the house, because me and her were La Negra, you know, we're really, really getting to know each other. And it's even imbued at the bottom. Not imbued, but fixed at the bottom with a little owl and some seeds, just to represent bringing in more protection. And you can see she's smiling. Very, very rarely have I seen La Negra smile. This little guy, nothing yet. I got this little guy. These are duendes. These are trolls. These are supposed to, these are kind of around your home. They can mess with your stuff unless you strike up a relationship with them. But a lot of people have reported, and probably because they're all from Mexico, most of them anyway, that duendes and other nature spirits come along with her. And the thing, I think, the reason why that happens is because you are opening up spiritually when you first get involved with her, that now you are beginning to experience all the spiritual aspects around your vicinity and all around your environment. It's like you opened a floodgate. So duendes, trolls, also, you know, kind of stemmed from fairies and that sort of thing, are kind of part of that package. And then they're part of that culture. So that's why I put that little guy up there. We have yet to see how that little guy reacts. So here's another little guy too. He's got a missing eye. Yeah, so same thing with that one back there. I saw it at CVS the same day and I was like, oh man, you never see these. So I had to bring it home to her. And I'll be honest with you, La Negra is not one, in my experience, that's like, bring me gifts, bring me this, bring me that, bring me this, bring me that. No, not in my experience. She's kind of like a, yeah, thanks, you know, don't be so superficial kind of thing. That's been my experience. This right here was a gift from a fellow devotee, and very cool looking. It's like a little plaque, kind of. And this is so it was a gift. Just so you know, all those things right there are gifts. So they're like offerings. This right here was gonna be early on a prayer box that I was making to see if anybody wanted to buy, but it ended up breaking, and I guess I was meant to just keep it. So it's just artwork. It's something that I handmade, you know, as representative of her. And so this is ball moss. This is found in, well, it's mainly found in wooded areas down here, but I found this in a cemetery. And my husband made a little coffin box and put it in there. And that is just, once again, another gift. Like, you like it? kind of thing. But she seems to. So this is a custom oil blend that I made early on for her, and seems to work for protection. So terracotta plates, good for heat resistance. And of course, the time honored, as my friend says, aloe plant. And the... Okay, are we recording? Yeah, I had to go kind of smaller there because I'm running out of room on my phone. Anyway, so this was a gift. This is a gift from a guy named Jack, and he custom made this image, and he printed it out poster size, and I loved it. And I couldn't find the perfect frame for it, but I was like, hey, no frame, hello, duh. And when I put this up, I was like, it has to go by La Negra. So it originally was by the front door for protection, but the door kept almost trying to, the door would slam open and would almost break the statue, so I brought it back over here. The knife was put up there by direction from her as representation of protection, as is the hanging aloe plant with the red string, also representative of protection and a warning system. These plants are a great warning system. Whenever somebody was trying to send me something, which they always tend to, I don't know why, but it would start to turn red and pink. And as soon as I cleared it up, as soon as it was gone, it would turn green again. So there you go. These individual paintings I've discussed in the past they were being dreams. And this is my tattoo that I have. Oh, sorry about the glare. Tattoo that I have on my left arm. You can't even see from the freaking glare. This was a dream. That's Earth on the left side. That's the God creator force on the right. That was another dream in which I saw a multitude of reapers in a sunflower field. And this is the bride image. I had to get my hands on that because it's another part of her history, another part of her folklore about her being a bride and dying of the broken heart. And as you can see, she's carrying wheat, the scales, and the earth. You don't really see the wheat too often. But what does wheat represent? Well, wheat represents abundance. But she's carrying the scythe and reaping the wheat. You know what I'm saying? Like it's her representation as the reaper, as the reaper itself. So this was a gift from a fellow devotee, and they also sent me a really cool keychain that goes along with it, which I hold very dearly, and I have it in my car. It's just very delicate, so I don't want it to break. Okay. She came from a dream in which I saw her as a nun with a floral headband around her head. She kind of gave messages of endearment and of embracing the Catholic roots. That's why she came, because I didn't want to have anything to do with the prayers, the rosaries, nothing like that. It pained me to be praying those prayers and to be saying those things because I was so, and you can see it in past videos, so rebellious against the church. But I came to realize through her that it ain't about that. And it ain't about me. It ain't about my personal beliefs. It's about what the spirit feels. And it's about what my ancestors felt. She got me really close to the ancestral connection. So, hold on just a second. Okay, yeah, so she got me really, really close to the ancestral connection, and oh my God, is it strong. So, anyway, these adornments were given, and they're very beautiful, custom stones, custom work, and I didn't want them to break, so as soon as I put them on her, as you saw from a previous video where I'm dressing her, once again, got the feel of, that's where it belongs. Same thing with this. I know that a lot of people have this one, and how can you not love this image? I mean, it is awesome. Look at that. Even looks like there's rays in the back of it. The rays shining in the back. Can't wear it. Ain't mine. Can't wear it. So these are my grandmother's rosaries. Now, my grandmother was a heavily Catholic woman. As a matter of fact, she was what they call a charismatic, which means that she would lay hands on people and heal them. And this is her rosary as well. I'm pretty sure she wouldn't approve, of me using her rosaries on a Santa Muerte image, but the image is of Catholicism, you know. Same thing with the red bracelets, also for protection, you know, guarding the hand. I mean, not guarding the hand, on the left hand, the passive hand. But yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to find a nun image, you know? So if you ever finding yourself in a situation where you're like, I can't find that image, make it. Because once again, you're giving your time, you're giving your devotion, you're giving your dedication by creating this masterpiece that's representative of the beautiful relationship that you have with Santa Muerte. You know? So there's purpose in everything, and do it yourself, she loves. And another thing, nobody else is going to have one like you. So, you know, if you're coming at it from an egotistical perspective, which you shouldn't be, that's a one-on-one. That is a personalized something special that you two have. So that's where that came from. That's actually this picture right here. See the flowers up there? It's supposed to be a band of flowers up at the top of the head, and that's supposed to be a nun's habit, but that's what it turned into. But that's from that dream. So in regards to dreams, there was this digital representation of just seeing reapers in the sunflower field. Is kind of like, hey, you think you know me, but you don't. You need to learn more about me. You need to realize that I'm just as much a part of nature as anything else. You can't set me separate. That's kind of what that dream represented. You can't set me separate from nature. I am nature. And so with this one, I can't take it down. But anyway, there's Earth, and that is my best representation of the God force. I did this digitally, okay? And so that's her in the middle with her 13 stars around her head like a halo, and they float around. It's really cool. They float all around her. And in that dream, she was saying, even God asks me questions, like indicating, you have no idea what I go through for humanity. You have no idea how I intervene. You have no idea how I suffer. You have no idea the type of middleman position that I'm in. And to be just taken for granted constantly is my burden. You're like, that's how I suffer. You think that you're the only one suffering? I suffer too. I have to engage and indulge in the suffering of humanity on a regular basis. So that's what that dream represented. It's almost kind of like the creator force was distant. And she's kind of like the middleman in between the spiritual and the mundane, Like she is liminality. She is the middle. She is the gateway. She is, like a middle force. That's what that dream was telling me. So one more. So this one was a really hard lesson and one that I will never forget. I was dreaming that I was putting on Day of the Dead makeup. I was just coming into this, and she's sitting next to me in the dark robe, and I'm all like trying to look all glitzy and sexy, and like, woo, we're gonna go out and we're gonna celebrate, and she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm putting on makeup for the Day of the Dead. She's like, that ain't what it's about. She's like, do you think that Day of the Dead is about getting laid? You think Day of the Dead is about buying stuff and getting all sexied up? And you think the Day of the Dead is about getting drunk and doing all this egotistical crap? She's like, that ain't me. She's like, the Day of the Dead, for one, is not me. I'm separate from it. I am the Reaper, like I take the souls, but Day of the Dead doesn't have really nothing to do with me. That's what she told me at the time. And she's like, and you getting all gussied up and making fun of the dead, making fun of those who have died and who have suffered, and the ones who leave their loved ones on this planet aching for them to just come back. You're making fun of it by putting on that makeup and by getting all what's the word, like getting all antsy about this ancient holiday and this sacred holiday, like if it's some party to just be taken lightly. Is that what you're doing? And so I got mad and I pushed her hand away, and I was like, I don't care. And I walked away, and she just sat there looking at me like, you're a bitch. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? How can you misconstrue who I am by putting on Day of the Dead makeup that has nothing to do with me? And how can you misconstrue this holiday and see it as just something to be taken lightly? She's like, you don't respect the culture. You don't respect the purpose of it. You don't respect what it's all about. You don't respect what it means. How dare you? So that's what that painting is about. So yeah, like I said, Negada likes to kick my ass. She likes to really put me in check, and that's why I love her. She's my favorite. But she's the one that I see the most, and she's the one that I have the most connection with. I'm just being straight up, right? So yeah, that since 2016, this is what it's evolved into. And there's been many experiences in between with each and every aspect and with each and every representation of her, or as she likes to call it with me, states of being. So that's my story about my altar, and I'm pretty sure everybody else can make an hour-long video as well about their altars and what they mean and what they've been through and the lessons that they've learned and all that. But this altar for me is not for show. When I see this altar and I stand in front of it, I'm like damn, I seen some shit. Like that's the feel I get. Like it's almost like walking into a house in which you instantaneously recognize all the memories. You know, like this altar is my lessons. This altar is my connection to the spiritual world. This altar is a physical representation of all the things that I adore and that I need in life. You know, that's what this altar is. It's not just decoration. If it was decoration, I mean, it wouldn't look all chaotic the way it does, you know? It would have some kind of flow. But I also decorated this entire house through her instruction. I never appreciated Mexican decor. I never appreciated the roots from which I was spawned from. I never appreciated anything about my culture because, honest to goodness truth, I was raised whitewashed, you know? And I mean, and I say whitewashed like in the sense of I was raised to not appreciate anything indigenous, not to appreciate anything, like, let me reword that, not to appreciate anything out of Mexico. Like, Mexico was seen as, like, honestly, like, even the people that live down here in Mexico, when I was being raised, was seen as, like, it's cheap, it's dirty, you know, it's where you go to get cheap stuff. And now, through her influence, I'm like, how dare you? You know, like that's my roots. How dare you speak that way? You know, so she reprogrammed me to see truth, to see light, and to see the beauty of that culture. So when also within her practice, when people try to manipulate it and turn it around and try to turn it into something that it's not, she gets offended. You know, like if that person really does have even like an inkling of connection with her, she'll tell them what's up. She'll be like, no, you're going to try to turn me into some kind of, you know, like, I don't know, you're going to turn me into some other spirit just because we have similarities. No, I am who I am. I come from where I come from. And, you know, this is where I chose to plant my feet. So it's going to stay like that or we're done here. You know, that's the impression that I've gotten after speaking with many different people about that subject matter. So, very long video, done. But I just kept getting told, do the thing about how the altar is supposed to have meaning and it's not supposed to be just decoration. Do it. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. I already did it, but I messed it up. Like, do it today. Do it right now. And I'm like, okay. Oh, one more story before I go. Okay. You see this cut on my finger? Okay, so we're redoing the bathroom right now, which is why I'm not doing readings right now, because this has actually been the only moment of peace that I've gotten, but I had to do this video. I have these on the shop, but I wanted one for myself, right? Because, I mean, awesome. It's freaking awesome. And I put it on, and I'm just being honest. I put it on without cleaning it. Okay? That's a big no-no. So I put it on without cleaning it on this wrist. And that's why it's set right here for now. I already cleaned it. But I put it on this wrist, and I'm banging away at the tile in the bathroom. We're breaking tiles because we're going to put up a new wall. Because, like, it's like 70s and all broken down in that other bathroom. So anyway, I'm doing that, and I'm holding the hammer on this hand and the bracelets here. So the way I'm holding the hammer, I'm holding it with two hands. And every time the hammer bangs, that bracelet scrapes my finger, right? Every time. And I'm like, stop it. Stop messing with me. I was talking to the bracelet. I was like, stop it. And I kept banging the hammer, and every time it would scrape me. And I was like, ugh. So I got frustrated. And that's because I had worn it for a couple of days, and I tied knots in it so they wouldn't come loose because the little fastening deal was coming loose. So oddly enough, I'm telling it, stop it, stop scraping me. You know, like a wacko talking to my wrist. And but I know you know who I'm talking to. Like, stop cutting me, you know? And so I finally got it loose from the knots and took it off. And, I continue to do what I'm doing. And I have a dream of 3 representations of her, one standing, one sitting, and one doing something else. And she's like, she told me in the dream, she's like, clean your bracelet. I was telling you that you were going to be hurting. I was protecting you from the pain. Clean your bracelet. That's why it kept cutting you, because I didn't disclose this part, but my fibro, or my arthritis, because of banging on that wall, breaking the tile, has been killing me for the past few days, to where I could barely even bend my hand. I can bend my hand now, but I couldn't the past couple of days. And these fingers were constantly numb because I was hurting myself. I was doing nerve damage. And so she's like, I was warning you. That's why I was cutting you on your finger, trying to get you to stop. She's like, clean the bracelet, leave it on my altar for just for a little bit, and listen to my warning next time. She's like, I gave you a dream. I gave you a physical representation. I was trying to tell you that you were going to be hurting yourself. So stop it. So, of course, my dumbass, I don't learn until it's too late, So I paid heed to her warning, and I feel awesome. Dude, honestly, nothing hurts anymore. Nothing. Like, no, I'm not feeling the inflammation. Nothing. So as soon as I did what she said, the inflammation is gone. See, so that's another reason why I'm like, they're aspects of the same spirit. Like, you can go to her, but at the same time, she's the one that actually gave me the warning. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's little things like that. People don't perceive that as magic, and they don't perceive that as spirit intervention, but it very much is. You don't always have like a finger of God coming down from the clouds to be your miracle. Sometimes the miracle is right in front of you, and it's obvious, and you ignore it because it's mundane. Well, so that's how it works. Hello? You can't just keep ignoring that stuff. So anyway, that's my little hour-long video, I think, of the altar space, and a few little side stories too. So I'll see you next time. Mexican doilies. Hold on just a second. I gotta stop recording because I'm running out of room. Hold on.